Hey Tony, Josh from the Post and Courier here.
Yes,
Just
sir.
with, with Travis, what does it take from a mental standpoint to be able to withstand those tackles and be able to just keep pushing and get those yards after the carry like he was able to do tonight?
I wish I knew how the actual answer to that question. That's something that he was born with. Just that gift and that ability. That's unbelievable. Contact balance. I think he just goes into his zone, and every time he touches the ball, he's not thinking about going down. He's thinking about scoring. Where some other guys may be thinking about getting tackled or embracing for the contact, he's going to try. He has such confidence in his lower body strength that he's going to run through the contact. But just proud of him. Of being ready to play tonight. Now the challenge for him is every time he shows up to the stadium, he's got to have that same mindset to be able to go out and play. And really proud of him too of his contribution in the passing game. Tonight wasn't a situation where he had as much production on the ground, but he was able to make up for that production in the passing game.
Tony, this is Matt with the state.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of that, just what did you guys see where you thought you could have some success on third down, getting him the ball in space with their defense?
Well, just really proud of our guys of being able to be effective on third down. We put ourselves in some long yardage situations where, the percentage of converting those long yardage situations on third down is very low. But just wanted to get the ball in space. We felt like, not just on third down, but in all situations that if we get the ball in space, and make them tackle us one-on-one, we felt like our speed may be a little bit too much for them. And I think it showed up. We knew that they weren't going to let us, just clip off 4 and 5, 6 yards on the run. They were going to try and stop that at all costs to try and get us behind the chain so they could be more aggressive. But, biggest thing was trying not to be too complicated on third down, just run our core offense. Let the quarterback be very, very comfortable with what he's doing so he can go through his progressions because we didn't know what to expect. They do an unbelievable job. Hats off to the defensive coordinator and defensive staff that, that's one of the things that they do on third down is when they get you behind the chain, especially 3rd and 6 or longer, they get exotic with their pressure. They get exotic with their coverages and their best that I've seen so far in really disguising, coverage-wise on the back end. So for us, what we saw is going into it, hey, let's just run our core stuff. I give Trevor answers to be able to find the right receiver once the coverage unfolds post snap, and let's go play ball.
Tony
Hey, Tony
Brad from
Lawton.
Clemson SI.
Yes, sir.
If I would have told you 4 years ago that Travis Etienne would score 60-plus touchdowns in his career, what would you have said?
I said, I'll take you up on it. You must know something that I don't. I think that we all knew what Travis was once he got here. I think coming into it, obviously because of the way the recruiting cycle worked out that year, we didn't have as long of a courtship in the recruiting process. But once he showed up on campus that first spring, I said, this kid's got a chance to be something special. And just happy for him and the hard work that he's put in, the humility that he continues to carry himself with, and he deserves all the accolades and the praise that he's getting.
Hey, Tony Lawton, Swine, Clemson Sports Talk. There are times in the game where Trevor looks like he wants to hurry things up, get things going. Are you kind of reading his body language and what he wants in terms of your tempo throughout the game, and how much of that does he really control?
It's a combination. There's times where I want to push the tempo, and then there's times where he's communicating from Streeter on the sideline. Hey, because again, at the end of the day, I want to push tempo pretty much, all the time, with the exception of maybe third down sometimes. But the guys on the field, I have to rely on them to say, okay, how effective is the tempo going to be? Because the last thing you want to do is hurry up and have a bad play call. If that makes sense. So yes, he sensed that we were able to play fast, make those guys, get lined up, and tempo worked out for us pretty good. So it's a combination of, Trevor with his instincts and feeling in the game, and at the same time too, just my nature at times I want to push the tempo and see can we take control, of the game and not be in a situation where the defense is dictating anything to us.
Tony, this is Matt again. You mentioned being in a lot of third and longs and not liking that. Just what were they doing early on, and what do you want to try to get cleaned up before?
I think early on it was more probably so us just some costly inopportune penalties and then some drops, just not getting into a rhythm early on, and then the guys were able to overcome that. And then in the second half, I thought we did a better job of just kind of the drives that we went and scored on, kind of staying ahead of the chains. But I mean, they're challenging defense. Hats off to those guys. They're a very good defense structurally. They're not going to let you just sit there and pound the rock and try and stay ahead of the chains. And so we had to kind of play a little bit of cat and mouse, in the run game and use some of the perimeter screens just to try and keep us, ahead of the chains. But I think early on it was a lot more, just a couple miscues on our part, that cost us to be in long yardage situation.
Coach Elliott, Rob Gilchrist with WCRS.
Yes, sir.
How would you describe an effort and performance like Lawrence, Etienne, and Rodgers had tonight, as well as what do you take from a hard-earned win like this one against Virginia?
I'll start with the second part of that question. You'll continue to hear me say it. I'm sure our players will praise them, and I'm sure Coach Sweeney will praise them as well. I mean, Virginia's a good football team, and they challenge you. They challenge you with their scheme, with their length, with their intelligence. So we knew that it was going to be, a challenge, and it wasn't going to be a situation where we're just going to show up, roll the ball out, and they were going to lay down. So just first and foremost, our guys were up for the challenge. But then we left a lot of plays out there too. We missed a couple of wide open balls. We threw a couple of balls where receivers had to fall down where we had opportunity for run after the catch. We dropped a couple of balls. We gave up a sack. We had a couple of false starts. So what I'm going to say is, look what we were able to accomplish with all the miscues against a good football team. So let's stay humble and let's go back to work and make sure that we focus on the little things, every single minute of every single day, so that those things don't come back to haunt us, in the most inopportune time, which is game time. And then for those guys, that's the expectation. I mean, I think that we all know how special, Trevor is, how special Travis is, and how special Amari can be. And the expectation is that that's how they play. I think that for us in-house, we're expecting those guys to lead us on the offense, and we need them to play our best. If we're going to be at our best players have to be at our best. And I think, the thing that may get overshadowed a little bit is just the play of the offensive line. I'm excited to see the tape. Obviously, we did the one sack, the early sack that happened on the intentional ground, and that's my fault. Took a chance right there on a second and short, trying to throw the ball down the field. Had a 5-man protection, and they brought the right blitz. So that's on me. And then we gave up one sack where Jackson got beat there. But otherwise, I thought the protection was good. I thought we did a good job with the multiple looks that you get from Virginia, because they're jumping in and out of structure from 4 down to 3 down. They're rolling coverage on you. They're bringing all kind of run-stopping blitz. So I think the offensive line, I'm excited to see them play, because I think that they did a good job again for us.
Tony, it's Pete at AP. It seems like whenever you guys get pressed a little bit in games, the 1 or 2 times that you do, the guys come back, they work hard, and they overcome. They fix their problems and they plow forward. Do you have any confidence? I mean, do you have that same confidence that this will happen in the coming week, that these guys will take the mistakes they made and take it seriously and work to overcome it?
Definitely. Those are core values within our program. We talk about all the time, having an eye of the tiger and a heart of a champion. The eye of the tiger referring to just focused intensity. Focused intensity every single day, every single minute. That reset mindset every single week. Okay, yes, we're going to celebrate the win tonight, but when we show back up on Monday, we're trying to go 1-0 that week. So I think it starts there, which gives them a lot of confidence because they're able to prepare to a standard, which gives them confidence to perform to a standard. And then the next piece is the heart of a champion, and challenge the guys at halftime too, okay, it's 0-0. Let's see, can we go out? And obviously, with the exception of that last drive, they scored 3 out of the 4 drives. Move the ball, and then when we needed to, we were able to put together a good drive and go score quickly to help the defense out there. So I think the guys just, it's just part of their DNA to have that eye of the tiger and heart of a champion, which gives them confidence to be able to, yes, we're pressed. Let's not panic. Let's just rely on our fundamentals, which is how we prepared, and then we can go out and have success.
Tony, this is Larry Williams at TigerIllustrated.com.
Yes,
how much do you attribute some of the offense's sputters, I guess, to losing T. Higgins and Justyn Ross and sort of trying to replace those guys on the outside?
I think, tonight was more just of situations out of our control. We had a 3rd down conversion there early on that Braden wanted to see him come up with that ball. He's a guy we're counting on. Again, we knew that it was going to be tough just to kind of slam the ball in between the tackles, which is the bread and butter of our running game. So I think we're still trying to figure out, what each person's strength is, and we just got to work through those. We got to work through those ups and those downs, and continue to just try and get guys involved. I thought Frank, did a good job of showing up tonight. I think that Amari did a good job of showing up tonight. We're still trying to work Joe back in. He's still battling through his abdomen there. So I think it's more a function of what's happening on the field tonight, and then just getting guys involved. And sometimes it's a little bit more difficult depending upon the structure to get certain guys involved at certain times, and that's my challenge, week in and week out, to make sure I give those guys opportunities so that we can build that cohesiveness, that chemistry, that continuity, so that we don't have the situations where we might sputter.
You mentioned how exotic they are on defense. I'm sorry. You mentioned how exotic they are on defense. Early on, I guess, in the first half, did that inhibit the tempo? You guys are sort of trying to diagnose what exactly they were doing on those early downs?
I think the biggest thing was we was on first down and first and second down, trying to stay ahead of the chains. And then again, once you don't get ahead of the chains, you put yourself in long yards. That's when they get the most exotic. You know what I'm saying? And again, we knew it was going to take us a little bit of time because predominantly they're 3-14, and that's when you break down the statistics. That's what it's going to tell you. And then last week they were 80% 4-down. All right. And again, that may not seem like a big deal to a lot of people, but definitely in the run game and protections, a guy moving 6 inches, changes communication, drastically. So it took us a little bit of time just to get dialed in. We knew they were going to play hard. We had to establish a line of scrimmage, protect the quarterback. And then, once we were able to kind of get settled, get moving, and we found, hey, they're going to give us the perimeter stuff. Let's put the ball in space and let our guys go make plays. And then when they try to walk up, we can try and put the ball down the field.
Tony, this is Matt again. You touched on a little bit with Ngata. Just how much of that is injury and how much is it other guys earning opportunity?
I think it's probably more of the first than the second. I think that all those guys are doing a good job with their opportunity. We just got to get him to a point, to where he's fully confident just to go out there and turn it loose. And I think he's close. Joe works extremely hard on his body. He's pushing every single day. But things like that take a little bit of time. So I think it's more he's just got to get himself going. And then because of that, now you're seeing Frank getting a couple more opportunities because you got to put guys out there that can go get it, down in and down out. And once we get Joe back, I think it's going to be a big plus for us.
Tony, Brad again.
Yes,
What was it like this week finding out about Demarcus Bowman's decision to transfer out of the program?
It kind of came as a shock. Didn't see it coming. Obviously, you understand that all young men, get homesick. But at the end of the day, Demarcus is a good young man. He did things the right way, have no issues with that. And it's just unfortunate, it's a situation where he had a lot of things kind of compound at once, especially with the issues with his grandparents and wanted to be closer to home. And so you can't fault a young man for that. Just appreciative of him and his parents and in Lakeland High School for allowing us to recruit him, and we'll do it all over again. It's just one of those situations that some things kind of stacked up real quick, and he felt like the best decision for him was to get a little bit closer to home.
Last question.
Hey, Tony, Josh again. With Joe, do you have a timeline as to when you expect for him to be feeling all the way back?
I don't know that. That's more of the training staff, him, Coach Sweeney. I know one thing is we're pushing him. He's trying to push through, you know what I'm saying? And each day is a different journey for him. And if I know one thing, I know he's going to do everything, that he can. He's not a young man that's trying to look for the sideline at all. He's trying to battle through. It's just a matter of when his body allows him to kind of be able to push through and become fully healthy.
All right, that's it. Thank you, guys. We'll have Travis Etienne next.